Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of Wrestling with the Business. Got the varsity athlete Jeremy Baudet over there. We got all business Dan Shevlin. And we got me, Matt. I'm here too. Got a lot to cover tonight. We're talking Royal Rumble. We're talking a possibly botched return with my pick to win the Women's Royal Rumble. We'll get into that. And this week in wrestling history should be fun. So here we go. All right, folks, before we get into our first topic here, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that bell on there so you get all the notifications. We're putting up content all week long, and this is going to be a special week. We got some picks we're going to do later on. We got the Royal Rumble on Saturday. This is one of my favorite shows of the year. I don't know about you guys, but let's talk about the Royal Rumble. So it's happening on Saturday. So far, 4 matches announced. 2 besides the Royal Rumble matches. Seems like it's going to be a pretty short show.
I don't know. I mean, each Rumble match is going to be at least an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, this is looking at a 2.5, 3 hour show, which by WWE standards is pretty
average. They've been keeping their shows pretty short.
standard outside of WrestleMania and maybe SummerSlam. They've been keeping it pretty short.
Yeah, I think they brought down the times. They're not running the crazy 6 o'clock to. And do we really like the 6 o'clock to a midnight shows? No, we don't.
I never watch. I mean,
the
pre-show.
Oh, yeah, the 3.5, 4 hour mark. That's good for a pay per view.
So I mean, look, it's also. I mean, there's no. I'm sure there's a chance for a last minute match add on. I'm sure they'll do something where they.
Yeah, we'll have to see SmackDown tonight. There might be one more match added.
Yeah, this week is always so crazy when it comes to WWE with the content. They don't know what they're doing. They really don't know. Like, one could argue they probably have no idea who's winning the Royal Rumble right now. So, like, when they figure out certain people aren't going to be in the show, then they can throw in a match on.
All right,
I mean, but like the Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, that's going to go like an hour.
I was going to say there's only 4, so let's just go through them really quick here. Let's go through them, I think, in order of least exciting to most exciting. So for me, the least exciting one has got to be the Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens. I mean, this one's
less than the Women's Rumble.
Yeah, less than the Women's Rumble. Because at least I have some surprises to look forward to.
True.
With this one, there's nothing surprising about it to me. Cody Rhodes is going to go over. Kevin Owens is clearly a filler. Maybe he's going out on break now. That's why they're not putting him in the Rumble. I mean, does anybody actually think that this is going to be of any significance or is going to have any impact on future stories?
I think it does.
Clearly, Kevin Owens is winning.
I mean, unless he wins, what could be the future impact? I mean, you could get a.
Oh, he's not winning, but I think they're going to make a storyline out of this match somehow.
Do you like? You're the big Kevin Owens fan here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like the heel Owens gimmick?
Yeah, I like it better than when he's a face. Absolutely.
Why is that?
It's more engaging. It's more entertaining. He can be a dick anytime he wants.
He's kind of goofy.
He can do the freaking package pile driver, and it's legit. You know.
He's kind of goofy when he plays face too. It doesn't come off very well. Anyways,
does anyone like a face?
Yeah, I mean, some good faces.
Who?
Cody's a great face.
Really? The crowd's starting to lose interest.
That's because his story has ended, and they're still trying to get more.
Triple H, gray heel. The Rock, prefer him as a heel.
Rey Mysterio.
Roman Reigns, okay. You like the heel Roman Reigns, or do you like the face Roman Reigns?
I don't like Roman Reigns.
But if you had to pick one, what's more entertaining to watch?
Heel. I'd pick heel.
I mean, the heel is where it's at.
I think heel is for people that can't act. I think
I
it's
disagree
easy
with
to
that.
be.
I think it's more acting to be a heel.
It's easy to be a dick.
First off, Roman Reigns is easy because Roman Reigns doesn't say anything, and he's better not saying anything. Kevin Owens, he's acting a lot more as a heel than he was as a face.
He's a trash talker.
Right. There's more. I think there's more acting in being a heel.
Rey Mysterio, Chad Gable's way better face than heel.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Rey Mysterio can't play heel. Chad Gable.
Yeah, Mysterio's never been.
Who? You don't know who Chad Gable is?
I'm just saying. I mean, he's not that relevant.
Who? Mike Jones. I mean, there are plenty of guys that I think play a good face. Penta.
If I had my choice to be a heel or a face,
his heel stuff in Lucha Underground was really good.
You're allowed to beat up women there. So.
I would rather be a heel. You can do more if you're a heel. Would you want to be a face or a heel?
Everyone always says there's more freedom to being a heel. Everyone prefers it, or most wrestlers prefer
I
it.
would say it depends a lot on like who's around me and who I want to work with and what they're doing and who I am working with. But just all on my own, like if they told me I could do whatever I want, I'd choose to be a heel. But that's because it requires less acting. Like I just say every nasty thing that pops into my
That's
head.
true. You can be more real with that.
I don't. Yeah, it's.
But in the case of Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens, I think there's got to be, the match is so blatantly like Kevin Owens is obviously not going to win this.
It's
so they
gonna
got to
be a
have
good
something
match.
special come out of it.
I mean,
I think
it's
there'll be
gonna
some
be a decent
interference from
match,
somebody, and they'll set up for like they got to make it a good story coming out of it. It's not going to end. I don't think it's going to end with a 1-2-3 pin.
I mean, it's
be-
very predictable, but it's going to be a decent match.
Maybe see The Rock, some kind of interference, try and put the heat.
Wouldn't that
back
be a
on it?
wild card?
I don't know. That would
You
be a
wouldn't
wild
see that
card.
one coming.
All right, let's talk about the women's Royal Rumble match. That's the next one that I'm maybe
'Cause
next
they
excited
put
about.
no effort into it at all.
So I'm just going to read through the entrants that have been announced so far. Nia Jax, Bayley, Charlotte Flair, Naomi, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Lyra Valkyria, Ivy Nile, and Io Sky with 20 left.
The new women's Intercontinental Champion is in the Rumble, so they got big plans for that belt.
Yeah, they're clearly well, it's just filler. I mean, you got to have 30 women, so you're going to have to pull.
You know,
Has the winner been announced? Is the winner in that group? That's my primary question.
Well,
Is
we'll get
Charlotte Flair?
we'll get into it in the next segment, but my pick is apparently not going to be there, so I'm going with Flair.
I
at this point.
disagree.
Really?
I think she'll be there.
I don't know.
Everyone.
No. Don't bleed. Let's stick to the topic. It has the winner. Is the winner in that list that I just read?
I'm saying Flair.
So you think the winner won't be an announced entrant into the Royal Rumble?
I think all the ones you said, they're not.
I mean, dude, we're almost there. I mean, maybe on SmackDown there'll be one or two more announced.
Read the list
but-
again.
Nia Jax, Bayley, Charlotte Flair, Naomi, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Lyra Valkyria, Ivy Nile, and Io Sky.
No.
You might see Jade Cargill. I think you said earlier off air there's speculation of Trish Stratus. You'll see some people like that show up.
Some NXT
Yep.
girls will be
Jordan
there.
Grace, we said
Hopefully,
last week.
Sol Ruka will be there.
That'd be nice.
I'd love to see her in that match. I don't know. I mean, I think Charlotte Flair could go over. She's been gone since November of 23.
I think Becky Lynch is not on that list. I think she's definitely returning. I think Alexa Bliss is not on that list. She's definitely returning. Asuka is not on that list. She's definitely returning. I think right now there's a lot of possible returns. I think there's a lot of excitement for the women's match. Not to mention whoever they pull off from TNA or wherever. I mean, there's going to be some surprises.
Jordan Grace is probably. I mean, I'll be shocked if they don't put her in.
Now,
that
I
match.
don't personally. I mean, the women's. I mean, I guess I think the pops have been pretty big for the women's the last couple of years over the men's. I think they get a lot of reaction. I think there's a lot of people looking forward to.
Might
the
have
women's
somebody
one.
else from TNA that comes in and gets.
There'll be one or two from TNA for sure. But I think those three big people are returning: Asuka, Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss.
Okay, and
One of those, in my opinion, are going to win.
All right. Well, stay tuned for our. Stay tuned on Saturday afternoon for our actual predictions. All right, let's move on to the next one. The Tag Team Championship belts. First time they've been up for grabs on a pay-per-view in forever, I think. It's DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa versus the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, and a 2 out of 3 falls match. This one's going to have some legs to it.
That'll be a good match.
This one's going to go for a while. I think
It still feels kind of out of place to me, though, on the card.
it's filler. Every match that isn't a Royal Rumble match is out of place.
Why is this even on the card? Why does this match get on the card and
Because-
no other match gets on there?
Because they haven't had the tag
they
teams
need-
up for grabs.
And they
in
need
forever.
people in the Rumbles.
There's how many people here?
There's only, but those are actual tag teams,
Yeah.
like real tag teams with
I just
real.
don't understand why this
That's
one
true.
makes it onto the card. Unless they feel like those 4 guys can put on two out of 3 falls. That's gonna be a long match.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
that's
one.
right. It is 2 out of 3.
This one
yeah.
could easily go 30 minutes.
30. I think it's gonna go like 45.
That's really long. I don't know. I might get kind of bored. How many
You have 4
times?
guys to work the match.
Yeah, and they're 4 incredibly talented guys that are in great shape, and
You can't tell me you can't draw a match out for 45 minutes with 4 guys in it.
you can. I just don't think they will.
Well, I think they're gonna have to.
I don't think so. No, they'll let them.
How? We'll go over the times after.
So I think this one could steal the show unless there's some amazing surprise that no one ever even sees coming in one of those. And I think the belts change hands. I think they go to the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah,
I think DIY's keeping them.
They have to make it interesting. So at least one belt has to change hands.
I can see Motor City getting it. Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, they only got it for a hot minute once they first came
42 days or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're due, and DIY's a little tired. They're working that heel angle right
They're
now.
heels,
right?
yeah, and they're working a story with Pretty Deadly, who are also heels. So
Okay, men's Royal Rumble match. So far, we have 15 announced entrants: LA Knight, John Cena, CM Punk, Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Rey Mysterio, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, Logan Paul, Penta, Chad Gable, Braun Breaker, and Carmelo Hayes. Boy, from a firepower standpoint, this match has way more firepower in it than the women's match does. And I do think that the winner is going to be in here. And I think it's going to be John Cena. I still think John Cena.
I'm still saying Punk.
You think Punk is going to... So, they did kind of tease that with Punk Cody.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of teased that a little bit this week. What do you think?
I still think it's The Rock.
I'm still on a dead heat between Roman Reigns and The Rock. I do not think it's going to be... Look, I've already narrowed it down to 4. It's going to be Punk, Cena, Reigns, or The Rock. So, out of process of elimination, I think they can get away with CM Punk not winning it this year and maybe making him the storyline next year.
Hasn't he already won it twice?
Yeah, so cross him off the list.
Punk? No, I think we had this conversation before.
last
So
week.
cross Punk off that list in my final 4. So that leaves John Cena. I don't think the fans are going to react well to being forced to follow John Cena's storyline. People did they did that. That's why people booed John Cena a long time ago. When WWE Universe, yes, I said the word universe, when they're forced to follow something that WWE is making them do, they do not like it. They're already sniffing. John Cena's already brought up, I think I'm going to win the Royal Rumble in his retirement year. They're already aiming. People don't like forced storylines, and I don't think Triple H is for that. I'm a big component of Triple H in the surprise factor. I think that's what they're going to go with here. I think there's another example of, we're going to make you think it's John Cena, and then we're going to pull the rug out right at the end, and it's not going to be John Cena. I think he's going to lose. I don't think he's going to win it, and I think he'll win something like the Elimination Chamber. They can drag the storyline out for John Cena trying to capture his last title. That can be drawn out for quite a while, where he fails and fails and fails and fails, and then finally gets it done. They're not going to give him the first opportunity to win. So Cena's out. It leaves it up to Rock and Roman Reigns. If The Rock doesn't show up, I think Roman Reigns unfortunately wins, and it sets up for a Roman Reigns-Cody Rhodes match again.
That's definitely less surprising than John Cena winning.
And you know what the sad thing is? They can make 3 main event Royal Rumbles in 3 years with those 2 guys.
You know what would be
and
more
they'd be
surprising?
successful.
What more surprising? LA Knight goes over, which I think is possible.
And wins?
It's a long shot, but I can see it.
Moly, you're way out there.
That's my long shot.
You're
pick for
way
sure.
out there, pal.
Or Logan Paul.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about that when you said his name. They already boo him. They can get away with forcing that one because they're just gonna boo the shit out of him.
And Cody's face is F, and so great contrast. And Logan Paul can be on any show he wants.
Logan Paul's like my
anytime.
5th choice, I think.
So I gotta say, I think if you're really pushing a surprise angle, you have to go with either LA Knight or Logan Paul. Logan Paul on the Raw side, LA Knight on the SmackDown side.
So just to confirm, Punk has never won the Rumble, but he had Money in the Bank twice.
Right.
08 and 09. It was reported earlier this week that the most recent plans for WrestleMania, and I texted this to you guys off air, Cena versus Cody and Reigns versus Punk. No plans for Rock at WrestleMania. That was, I think they said that was as of like November, so things are definitely still in flux, but that was the last concrete plans that they had.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a draw, but it's wrestling. That's the other thing is we kind of have to throw all of our perennial wisdom as far as like what's a draw, what's going to put butts in seats. With WrestleMania, butts are going to be in seats no matter what you do.
Right.
So that's kind of an assumption thing, and now it's more about, and this is why I wrote this down in our notes here, legacy. I'm starting to think about legacy. The Rock isn't thinking about legacy because he's still in the business, 1 foot on the platform at least, but still in the business. Roman Reigns still has plenty of time, and his legacy is still very recent. John Cena, I think he has to earn a little bit with the fans a little bit. He disappeared for a while, after calling out some people for disappearing for a while. And I think he needs to earn a little bit of that. He needs to earn a little bit of his credential back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
why give him the Royal Rumble right away?
Well, you don't give him the Royal Rumble. That's why I'm saying he's going to go in at like 3 or 5.
Good, and he should lose. And then again, there's more of a storyline with him chasing an opportunity for the belt than just giving it to him.
This is the end of a story, not the beginning of one. So I think.
All right, real quick, surprises. Who do you think that we have not said yet? Who do you think is in the Royal Rumble? That's a surprise.
You know who has been in the company now for at least 6 months is Hikuleo, who's part of Roman Reigns' Samoan family. I think he could show up at the Rumble.
I think Joe Hendry's going to be in it for sure, and we're going to see at least one other TNA talent. I would love to see Macklin. He's just my favorite TNA talent, but you're probably going to see Dolph Ziggler.
Nick Nemeth.
But he'll be out as Dolph Ziggler.
My 2 choices are Nick Nemeth, I think but I also got a feeling like WWE got rid of him, so I can see where he doesn't want to come back.
Oh, the crowd would love it.
The crowd would absolutely love it. But
he'd get a great pop.
And I think he's more current with WWE wrestling, so he can kind of just fit right in and be ready to go.
He's a great guy to work with. I mean,
however, my main choice to return is good old Brock Lesnar.
Yep.
I think he's back. The rumblings are already starting. You know, like I said last week, the McMahon thing on the criminal side is done. I think that's all WWE cares about. Civil, they can handle outside of court, but the criminal stuff seems to be buried. So to me, that's going to open the door to a Brock Lesnar return anytime now.
I think it's possible. But reports are they're still not sold on him yet.
One interesting point, though, I guess we'll close on this. All Business, Dan Shevlin here, they're paying him a lot of money to do nothing. No appearances. They're basically paying for him to be in the video game. So, I mean, use it or lose it, guy. I mean, nobody's happier about this arrangement than Brock Lesnar. But
no, I think he's looking to come back. I bet there's a little bit that he wants to start redeeming himself a little bit. He took a hit from that storyline.
Maybe, but he's no spring chicken either.
No.
So I don't know. We'll see what he.
How old is he? 50?
Mid-40s.
Yeah.
At least.
We'll see if he comes back looking like Sheamus did when he came back.
Yikes, that was horrible. Let's not even get into that.
Burger after burger after burger.
47.
All right, segment 2. We're moving on to my favorite, actually, someone that's been missing from the scene for quite a while now. Rumors have swirled for months now of an imminent return of Alexa Bliss. There was a lot of speculation, especially over the summertime. Was she going to come back as part of the new Wyatt 6 gimmick? When was her return going to be? There was some rumblings that kind of went away. Now we've really seen a groundswell of rumors to the point where merchandise designs are being approved, storylines are being discussed, and there's been a lot of conversation over what's going to happen with Alexa Bliss. When is she going to come back? Well, her return seemed imminent. First there was talk of Raw. Then there was talk, of course, what better place to return than the Royal Rumble. Trouble in paradise. So apparently there is a contract dispute that is delaying her return. Word is that WWE wants to bring her back on the terms of her old contract. And she is like, F no, I'm not doing that. Like hard no is what I heard. I looked up her old contract. Her per annum on her old contract is $350,000.
Crazy. I couldn't believe that when you said that.
Must have been a long-term agreement, would be my guess. 5-year-ish agreement that she had. So she has had a kid. That's why she was out. She has been out since November of 2023.
Just as long as Charlotte.
15 months. Yep, she's been out off TV, not wrestling for 15 months, and they wanted her to come back for the same salary that she was working for essentially 3 to 5 years ago.
Are you sure it was regarding the salary? I thought it was like perks in the contract.
Oh,
they wanted to keep certain perks, and she wanted to add in a couple.
I mean, that's, I guess the terms are the contract are the point.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's exactly the money or how many appearances how much traveling she's going to have to do. You know, that's going to become a huge factor once these international shows become much more
Especially
common.
now that she has a kid.
Travel, the consequences of travel, which again kind of makes me think, I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but there are some professional wrestling companies of note in this day and age that tend to be quite generous when it comes to appearance arrangements and how often you actually have to work every week. AEW. So I just wonder, Dan, you had mentioned in the last segment that you think that she's going to be at the Rumble. You think that this is all just a work, that they're not actually in dispute?
They probably are.
Or that they're going to sort through it at the 11th hour CM Punk style.
They'll get it done.
She's going to come out as number 28 as she's signing the paperwork when number 15 is being
Signs
announced.
it in Gorilla.
Look, the reality is, I'm one of the biggest Alexa Bliss fans out there as anyone, right? I mean,
She's outstanding.
I think in the female side, I think she's one of my top 3 favorite. And I think, that being said, this hasn't gone on long enough about her return. Like, what's the deal here? I like Alexa Bliss. I think she's a great talent, but is her character that in depth where they got to do all the special planning process for her return? I mean, like, we're getting to the point now where I get she had injury, she had a kid. I get that, obviously, that makes up for a lot of the time. But like, let's just get. I mean, apparently, based like Jeremy said, WWE thought she was coming back on her own terms. Maybe there's some injury time in there, as that's what they thought about. Maybe with her being pregnant, maybe they took some time. Maybe there's some injury time that they're trying to figure out. She wants to come back on a whole new deal with a whole new amount. Which, by the way, that being said, $350,000, crazy. Mm-hmm. She should be way more than that, and WWE should understand that.
5-time world champ.
So that part I get, but I also understand the part where maybe there's some confusion with injury time and how that always lingers at the end of the contract. So who knows? I do think they'll get it figured out. I think they don't want Alexa Bliss going to the rivals. So I don't think she'll ever go to TNA, which only leaves AEW. So I think that they're going to get it worked out. And I think if they're going to get it worked out, just get it done before Royal Rumble. And I think they will.
2 primary questions on this one. 1, assuming she does make it back for the Rumble, does she factor into it at all? Is she in the last 4? Does she win?
She was my pick to win last week until this news came out.
I mean, is she besides the pop you get and just not ripping the Band-Aid off, but you know what I mean? Like breaking the seal, you know what I mean? Like her first time back in the ring in a long time. Besides kind of getting over that initial hurdle of getting back in, what's the benefit of having her in the Rumble?
I agree with Matt. She's up there in the potential to win that. I mean, she's probably one of my 2 favorite picks to win the Rumble. I mean, who else is going to win it? Charlotte Flair, we can't keep doing that. And we can't keep doing Becky Lynch. So, take those 2 out. Maybe Asuka, she just won a year or 2 ago, did she not, Asuka?
So did Charlotte. Charlotte's only won once.
So, people, they want change, right? I mean, Alexa Bliss comes in. Why wouldn't she win? I mean, really, what would be the reason for her not winning it? Maybe I think I do one thing. I think a crazy idea would be a TNA superstar winning it. That's a crazy idea. I think it could work.
I don't know who would win. I mean, obviously you have the current Knockouts champion and stuff, but I think Jordynne Grace would be a nice happy medium in there. All right, let's get back on topic. Second question, and this one's for you, Matt, primarily. Let's assume that she doesn't make it back for the Rumble for whatever reason. What do you do then? What do you do? She's coming back, but it's not in time to get to the Rumble. What's the next best thing you can do with her?
I mean, bring her back for the Elimination Chamber.
I mean,
there's been talk about her being with the Wyatts again for however long. Whether she comes back for the Rumble or for something else, you can totally work in a story where Nikki Cross is helping her or clearing the way for her or whatever the case may be. That would work great in the Rumble. Helps her win the Rumble or whatever, and that's her initiation into the group or whatever. Aside from that, though, I mean, it would be a waste to just have her come back on a random Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah,
it's
I think
so. It's got to be
so.
something big.
Yeah, unless it's in her hometown or something. I don't know.
Yeah, even then.
Yeah, that's definitely a waste of time.
I think it matters in regards to what her current storyline is. If she's returning to Royal Rumble, which is what the plan was, they obviously have a storyline for her.
If you want to push the Wyatt 6, you put her in the Wyatt 6.
Who haven't been on TV in several weeks.
Who haven't really...
They got moved to SmackDown, and they haven't showed up yet.
And frankly, the SmackDown roster is want of good talent.
They're building the drive up. The want. They don't want them returning yet. They want people to, where are they? Where are they? Where are they? And then they'll just show up randomly and obviously make a scene. I mean, that could be a Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens interference. I mean, something's going to come out of that match. Not to switch topics, but something's going to come out of there.
I don't know if they're going to be in the title scene.
A Cody scene, though.
Well,
Maybe. For a little
needless to say, I mean, do we all agree that WWE is the right place for her?
Oh yeah.
bit. Oh, yeah.
'Cause I think
She's
she
not
is.
going anywhere else.
Yeah, she's definitely not the kind. But I mean, even if she could,
I don't think
and I'm sure
WWE's
she
going to
could.
allow it.
I'm sure she could call Tony Khan and be like, "Hey, I'm in a contract dispute. Offer me $1 more," and Tony would in a moment. But I don't think that's the right spot for her. I think she's one of the weird.
The way they've handled Mercedes Moné in AEW, they wouldn't handle Alexa Bliss right.
Yeah, well, remember, for every Mercedes Moné, there's a Jade Cargill waiting in wings. Right. So, yeah, but I agree. WWE is definitely the best place for her. So, yeah, I mean, let us know what you think down below. Is she going to be at the Rumble? That seems to be the most controversial thing. We've got a definitely yes, definitely no, and a hope so. Seems to be our layout. So let us know what you think.
All right, boys, you ready for this? It is your favorite segment and mine. This week, wrestling history. All right. Let's go back all the way to 1904.
Oh, Jesus.
No, I'm just kidding. I did pull that one. Frank Gotch defeated Tom Jenkins for the American Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, my God.
Pretty good one. But, no, let's really go back to the year 2000, January 31st. On an unsuspecting episode of Monday Night Raw, we saw the debut of
Can you give me a hint?
What year again?
Dan's favorite group,
What-
the year 2000.
Dan's favorite group, DX. DX is before
McMahon
that.
Helmsley faction.
No. The Radicals. Come on. Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, and Perry Saturn debuted on the January 31st, 2000 on Monday Night Raw.
If you'd asked me if Perry Saturn ever teamed with Chris Benoit, I'd say no.
Okay, let's see how good you
That's
are.
funny.
Who did they turn their backs on that episode?
Oh, I just read it too, and I already forget.
They turned their backs on someone.
Oh, Head Cheese.
No.
Are you
Someone
sure?
someone brought them in. Someone brought them in, and they turned.
Oh, Mick Foley.
Mick
That's
Foley.
right.
Mm.
They attacked Head Cheese, though.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. 2014, January 27th.
I'm not good with this this time.
Cleveland, Ohio. Another episode of Raw. A big story at the time that still has repercussions now. CM Punk walks out of the WWE on this day.
Wait, this
in
was the pipe bomb?
2014.
This was
No.
the pipe bomb?
No, this was the walkout.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Pipe
yeah.
bomb was a few
Pipe
years
bomb was
before that.
Yeah, it was before then.
This is when he left and then never came back.
The walkout, and then he got fired. How long after that before he got his papers? Because it was like his wedding day, right? He got the
it was
notice
just-
that
yeah.
he was shit canned. So, okay, wow, that's interesting.
That was that
CM
long
Punk's
ago?
loss? 2014.
2014, yeah.
It was 9 years, 10 years.
9 years since he came back.
That's
Wow.
how it was.
All right, got 4 birthdays for you. Let's see if you can guess the
Oh,
ages.
boy.
Hardcore Holly,
Ooh.
January 29th. Hardcore Holly. How old is he?
54.
60.
62.
Wow.
Yeah, I
way
knew he
off
had
on
to be
that
in his
one.
60s.
That was a train wreck.
Yeah.
Your buddy Sheamus, January 28th.
Oh.
How old is Sheamus?
You go first in this time.
46. 46.
I was thinking 47, but I'm going to go 51.
No, he's not that old.
You were right the first time. 47.
Wow.
Yeah. He's around Lesnar's age. They're all around the same.
Yeah.
January 30th. Becky Lynch.
Ooh. The man is 33.
Yikes. That's young. 37.
No.
38.
Whoa! I did not think she was that old.
And the last one, February 1st.
38?
Ronda Rousey.
Oh. 40?
39.
Also 38.
Wow.
2 days
All right.
younger than Becky.
Close enough. Wow, Ronda Rousey's a lot closer to me in age than I thought. Okay. Wow. That
Yep.
is quite a week.
The Frank Gotch fact is the best one of the list for sure.
Yeah, they must have shared a sarsaparilla after the match. I mean, that means these people were born like when the Civil War was still going on. That's insane. Gotta love the heritage that goes on. I like how you go back that far. That's why we have you do This Week in Wrestling History.
Absolutely.
Nobody else has the balls to go back 120 years. Back before anybody is
crazy.
living was alive. Hey, there's a great heritage to it.
Well, be sure to let us know down below what's your favorite wrestling fact of this week. And, hey, if you have a birthday this week, happy birthday.
You had to take it from me, didn't you? You had to take it. I can have nothing. This is Matt's segment, everybody.
Guys, Clash in Paris just announced a couple days ago. Monday Night Raw is going to be scheduled after it in France. Is this their first time in France? They haven't done.
This is the first
is it
Raw
the first
in
time?
France.
First Raw.
They've done a pay-per-view there before, though.
Yes.
Yeah. So it opens a question: is this going to be a new format where Raw is after pay-per-view in the same location? I think they've kind of done this already a little
bit. They've done it in other places, yeah, but it's probably going to become more regular.
Major. I think like Royal Rumbles and WrestleManias, they do same location. Like obviously, after they do the WrestleMania, they have the smaller arena booked for SmackDown or Raw right after. Mm-hmm. So I mean, the formula's kind of been there, but is this something that we're going to start to see? We talked about, before when we talked about the business of operations, TKO wanted to start doing a lot of events that are all synced together and where they can save on production costs, traveling costs, and have the shows as many as they can in one location. So maybe this is something we're going to start to see with the new TKO leading the way.
If you're going to be there anyways and you're on Netflix, so you can be anywhere, broadcast from anywhere, I would imagine it's a lot easier to broadcast from anywhere on a place like Netflix versus USA. You got to do it. I guess the primary question that I have is, and this is what stuck out to me, so they do Clash in Paris, they do Clash at the Castle, they do Battle of Berlin. They're like creating new pay-per-views, Crown Jewel. They're creating these new international pay-per-views that are sort of country-specific. And yet sometimes they go international and they do one of their classic pay-per-views internationally. They'll go all the way to Perth, Australia.
Are they going to have in Saudi Arabia next year?
Yeah, like are they going to do the Battle of Australia or whatever? No, they don't. They go there and they do was it Hell in a Cell they did there? Elimination Chamber. They go there and they do Elimination Chamber. So I'm just wondering what makes them decide we're going to do they did Backlash in Costa Rica. Puerto Rico, sorry. Yes, you're right. In Puerto Rico. So it's like, what makes them decide, we're going to invent a whole new PLE out of whole cloth. And what makes them go, oh no, we're going to do Fastlane in Mexico or whatever. I'm wondering because I don't know, it doesn't build a lot of enthusiasm from me. This is going to be a C-level pay-per-view. It's buried right after SummerSlam. It's going to be 3 weeks after SummerSlam or whatever.
Well, it's like I've been saying for months and months and months. All these shows look exactly the same anyways, whether it's a B-level, C-level, or A-level show.
You're gonna get 60,000 people.
Right.
It's the only show in France.
And it's not going to be any different from any other show of the year.
It's the only show in France, and you're pulling from the entire European population. 800 million people are an hour's plane ride from Paris, you know what I mean? An hour and a half's plane ride to Paris versus the United States where, 100 million people might be within an hour's plane ride if you're in like Indianapolis or something, some central location.
So I have an issue with this. And, sound the red alert alarm, whatever you want to call it, the rant coming. How many pay-per-views do we have a year? 12?
About 12.
One a month, right? And we have 12 a year. How many are now out of the country? How many do we really? I mean,
a quarter.
I get branding. I get expanding your business and branding, but how many do we really need out of the country a year? I mean, do we really need 6 of them? Because we're looking at probably at least 5 out of the country. So it means now you only have 6 pay-per-views.
If you're definitely counting the Saudi shows, yeah.
Now you only have 6 pay-per-views in the United States.
It's the future, man.
Is it, Jeremy? The reality is WWE's clientele is right here.
But
now that they're on Netflix,
I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm saying they don't need 5 of them a year. Maybe we don't do the Berlin every year. Maybe it's every other year. Maybe you rotate it with you go away for the Clash and you go away to Berlin one year. Do we really again? And this
you're right.
But this also goes back to what I talked about earlier about being forced. This stuff is being forced on us to go, and they are literally creating pay-per-views literally around where they're going. The pay-per-views, in my opinion, they have no hype to them. They're boring. No one. Do you watch them? Do you watch those?
He watched Battle of Berlin.
Do you
I
watch the
didn't.
other
No,
ones?
I didn't.
Any other ones? No.
No.
But
I wouldn't watch Fastlane either.
But but look, they're not Royal Rumbles. They're not SummerSlams. They're not Survivor Series. And those are the only ones in the country now. I mean, what happened to the ones like even Backlash? That's not a bad one. I mean, they lose.
Backlash was made good.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
No
by the
Mercy,
crowd,
Armageddon, Hell in a Cell. Like, these are Elimination
Blood.
Chamber. Like this Bad Blood. Like they all have some unique to the name. This Clash in Paris and like the name. It's just so like
gimmicky.
It's just it has a gimmick. It's forced. I have no interest in watching it. Nothing's gonna happen there. Like are we gonna see major? I mean, I even feel like
La Resistance will return.
but I even feel like WWE knows nothing's gonna go on there, which is why they schedule the worst matches for those shows. Like, I mean,
Yeah, they don't want anything.
I forget
on.
which one just happened a while ago, but I remember the card was horrible. Remember, we did a show.
Gunther was the only guy at Bash at Berlin.
Maybe it was that we did a show. We said there's nothing good. This pay-per-views are horrible, and it was such a forced pay-per-view. This is what we're starting to see. I got some concerns, some big concerns with that.
They, to your point, they're doing exactly what you suggested. When was Battle of Berlin? August, September, right?
Yeah.
So they're not going to go to battle. They're not going to go to Berlin every year.
Hopefully.
They're going to go to Berlin one year, then they're going to go to France, then they're going to go to Italy, and then they'll go back to Berlin again.
I don't mind maybe
they'll-
1 or 2 a year that they rotate.
They've done 2 Clash of the Castles. First one was in Wales. The second one was in
Right,
Scotland.
they're right, and then or they're going to go to Cardiff where they've done big shows
Clash
before.
of the Castle will probably stick to the UK.
Think about this from a business perspective. If you're WWE, this is awesome. You can go to France. You can go to Paris, big city. You can sell out 60,000, 70,000 tickets, and you don't have to put anybody on the card. That's big money for you and risk them getting injured over some nothing show in France. And yeah, you can sell 60,000 tickets. Where can you sell 60,000 tickets and not have Bloodline be a part of it at all if you don't want to? Not have the world champion appear there at all. Not have...
Yeah, any of these European shows, Gunther would be huge. Finn Balor would be huge.
There's a
Drew
way...
McIntyre would be huge.
There's a way to put a presence in there without
putting a major
risking
presence.
the money over here. They went to India and they did a big show in India. And like, if you don't want to travel, if you're Charlotte and you don't want to travel, if you're Becky Lynch, be like, fine, we don't need you to put butts in seats this time. We're WWE and we haven't been here in 10 years. And so I think they did go to France to do a dark show trip. I think they did, I don't know, a dozen shows there or something. It went really well. People were singing Seth Rollins. I think that was one of the places where they were singing Seth Rollins' theme song for like 10 minutes. It went on and on and on. They just kept singing it over and over and over again. And they were like, yep, we're coming back here and we're going to fill that stadium. So it makes a lot of sense if you're talking about giving people breaks that they need. Somebody can take a month off after a SummerSlam show, and you can have some of the B guys get a little airtime, go overseas, get some exposure to the international audience. I hate to say it, this is the future. Within 5 years, WrestleMania will not be in the United States, and they'll pitch it as if it's the greatest thing in the world. And before we know it, we'll be lucky to host one of the big 4 shows in the United States. Because, yeah, right now, we are probably 50% of their audience. But in 5 years, we're going to be 20% of their audience. And it's going to be people watching in India. It's going to be people watching in Europe. It's going to be people watching in... It's going to be a global phenomenon. South America.
We're going to talk about it in the next segment, but viewership's already going down.
And you're going to see it. And why viewership's going down? Because in the U.S., you're like, yep, this is the same product we've seen over and over again. And I need to watch these numbers closer, but I'll bet you're going to see an increase in the after watches, people that aren't watching it live, because it's 9 o'clock in the morning in India and everybody's at work, or it's 2 o'clock in the morning in France and everybody's asleep. You're going to see the international viewership rise. That's what's going to be key to look for, is look for the people that rewatch it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a stretch that we're going to lose that much, but I think it's also, to me, to be a little alarming that we're looking to put that many shows outside the United States.
And you're going to start seeing, they're not going to want to compete with themselves, but I think long term, you're going to start seeing, this week we have this show and it's in, the United States, and 2 weeks from now, WWE Europe is going to have a show in Seville, Spain, or whatever. And you're going to see there won't be a lot of intermixing of the storylines, but you're going to see similar characters. And we're going to start having this conversation about like, oh, is it canon or isn't it canon? Like, he got beat by this person on this PLE in Seville, Spain, Battle of Spain, or whatever. Is that a legitimate thing? Like, does it count?
All right, guys, on to the main event for this episode, media in the wrestling business. We got a lot of things to talk about. We haven't really talked about ratings too much the last couple weeks. Thought we'd kind of go through that a little bit. We talked, obviously Netflix, big debut a couple weeks ago, 3.9 million. It went up though. Didn't
4.9.
4.9 after the adjusted. And then looks like it dropped. I don't have the adjusted ones. It looks like it went from 3.9 down to 3.7. I'm actually shocked at that. The second week held on a little bit. I mean, considering how many people tuning in to see. Well, everyone thought it was going to be a huge episode the first week. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
You had The Rock. You had all these other guys, John Cena showing up. Everyone thought it was going to be a big show, the hype there. So for them to only drop 0.2, it's actually not that bad. But now we're down into the 3. We're 3 even for week 3. You got to imagine we're probably going to drop down to the 2s at some point. Is this the direction you guys thought Raw would be going on Netflix, or did we really think we would be holding in the 3s?
No, I expected it would start dropping. Absolutely.
I think you're going to see live viewership continue to drop, maybe even down as far as it was at USA, maybe down to 2 or maybe even a little under 2. But I think you're going to see maybe even some slight growth in the total viewership because, I mean, I'm not saying I'm a trendsetter or anything like that, but I'm like, yeah, I'll watch it anytime I want. Like, I don't care. And by the way, what counts as a watch now? If I watch the first 20 minutes, do they count me in that? Mm-hmm. It's not. I mean, Nielsen had very specific standards. They would check at different times. They would check at different times, and then they would chart it, and you'd get the average. And like, it was really, really scientific. Now you just get a number, 4.9. Okay, so if I open it and watch 5 minutes of it, do I get counted in that 4.9? And how much value does that actually add if I'm an advertiser that's trying to get space on there? I don't know. I don't know if they're doing it the same way. So I think you're going to see overall viewership go up as international audiences start to wake up to it and watch it. And you're going to see domestic drop off. And it's probably going to settle, as far as the live audience, it's probably going to settle in the 1.9, probably where it was when it was on USA.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I would think. I mean, if you watch it every Monday night and that's part of your routine,
I think it stays in the mid to upper 2s.
If it's part of your routine, I think there's a small portion of people that maybe want to watch it on Monday night but can't. But people in Canada, maybe, I don't know. Maybe people in South America, like that are in our time zone, that have the opportunity to watch it live that can't. Okay, sure, but I mean, most people, me included, I'd be like, oh, this is great. This means I can watch it whenever I want, and I don't got to worry about TiVoing it.
I'll watch 15 minutes now, and I'll watch an hour later.
But I think that's where the adjusted ratings come in.
Sure, 100%.
Where we went from 3.9 to 4. I mean, I'm sure they go, okay, a bunch of people watch it on Tuesday because you can do that now. I mean, you can watch it on Tuesday, you can watch it on Wednesday. Hell, you can watch it on Friday instead of watching SmackDown. You can do there's a lot of options.
Or I wait and I go, oh, it's all filler. Oh, but I want to see the Penta match. Oh, really cool. And then I just skip forward to the Penta match and I watch the 8-minute Penta match. Mm-hmm. Do I count or do I not count? I don't know.
So, just some update on some of the other stuff. I don't know, because we really haven't talked about ratings that much. What do you think SmackDown's going at last week?
Oh,
on USA Network.
I think they've been hitting over 2 the last week or two. Just like slightly over. No?
I thought it would drop down to where Raw was.
2024 on Fox was 2.4 million.
Yep.
This one was 1.4.
Oh,
wow! Up 3%, up 4% from the week before.
I mean, I thought that they'd be in the 1.7 range, but I mean, SmackDown is not packed with their A talent. It really isn't.
They've moved up to 3 hours too since moving off of Fox.
Yeah,
so and here's the shock.
I'll bet you that third hour is hurting them.
Here's the shock I have. And I could be wrong. I thought we referenced last week or the week before that NXT wasn't doing well in the ratings.
They're doing well.
They're doing
you know what they hit this week?
They're over 1 million.
800. Were they at 800?
827,000.
2 weeks ago they were at 800. 818, I think they were.
Last year they had 648.
Yeah.
So they're up almost.
Well,
and a little 180,000 year to year.
I don't.
And on the CW network.
I certainly don't want to hate on NXT because it's probably one of my. It's got some of my favorite talent in it, but they've been getting a lot of extra help.
Oh, I'm
with,
sure.
with The Rock being on there and stuff like that. So I kind of want to wait another couple of weeks or a month and kind of see where they settle off. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they settled in the 600-ish.
So just so we all know, the week that The Rock was there, 798,000. They're actually getting more now with no Rock.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's coattails though. I think.
yeah, sure.
I think.
Now here's the shocker. And I'm going to throw it in there. I'm going to stir the pot a little bit. AEW. Do you know what their ratings are?
Yeah,
Low.
Collision sucks. Collision's like 250, I want to say.
Yeah, 250, 300.
240 something.
Yeah, Collision's horrific. Although I think
Dynamite, I think, is hovering around 600 or something.
650 or something, I think. But I read about that because everyone's all like, Dynamite can't even compete with NXT anymore. HBO won't give away specific numbers, but they're saying that Dynamite is some of their best performing live athletic television.
Oh, for sure. That stuff's going to do well on those type of apps.
I wonder, again, how many
platforms.
people like me are like, oh, great, now I can watch it on HBO on Thursday or whatever. I would have to assume, and remember, HBO hosts MLB games, NBA games. Like, to say that you're in the mix with them means you must be doing some pretty good numbers. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if, there's 600,000 people that are watching it, but I mean, it could easily be over 1 million, 1.5 million even. I could imagine 1 million people watching it throughout the course of the following week.
They just got to get, I don't know what they're doing. They just got to get, I mean, so a year ago, they were at 837. So NXT, AEW flip-flop.
Yep.
So now NXT doing what AEW was doing, and AEW was doing what NXT was doing a year ago.
Yeah, the simulcast.
That's not, I mean,
it's killing TBS.
Not good.
TNT. Turner. I mean, if I was Turner, I'd be like freaking out a little bit because your advertising is just falling apart.
Yeah.
To yourself, basically. I don't know. Maybe they're advertising because they are keeping the commercials in.
I mean,
they're keeping the commercials on.
Real
HBO,
quick before we finish up, we haven't talked much about AEW, but what's the deal? Is there chaos over there? Like, what are they doing right now? Do you feel like you guys? I don't watch AEW that much. You guys, do you feel like the content is going well? Like, are they producing good content?
There's a lot of talk online about Jon Moxley as champion, and his whole Death Rider storyline is just not working.
Right.
And they're in at least 2 segments a show. They're really pushing it hard, and it's just not working.
MJF hasn't been as prevalent.
Yeah, there's still a lot of people who aren't there who should be.
I'm not sure what's going on with that.
I heard he's
Kenny
clocked
Omega
out.
just came back, but
yeah, and he's not getting a lot of traction. Even Will Ospreay seems to have a lot of the momentum taken out of him.
He's their top guy right now.
You know, CM Punk had a little bit of wisdom there where he said, I don't know what they're doing there. They're just trying to have great matches. And they are trying to have great matches. The matches are outstanding. Pac, outstanding. What is going on with this gimmick
he's part
doing?
Of the Death Riders thing.
This interview, it's like...
I've long said, and I'll say, I think they have so many decent people there. They just can't find that leading. Who's going to be your main guy? I mean, obviously they're trying to do it right now with John, but who? Like they have so many faces and they signed so many people that I just think everyone's getting lost in the weeds.
They're just not being organized.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to.
And they're not. I don't think. Are they storytelling or are they trying too much to storytell?
Not really. No.
They're trying to tell
some
stories.
of the Tony Storm stuff.
They're trying to tell stories, but they're relying too much on the wrestlers to push their stories rather than having a centralized writing team or booking team or whatever you want to call it. The Tony Storm stuff this past week, that's probably the best thing happening right now. She's back to being timeless. It was all an act. It was, entertaining stuff. But again, the whole Death Riders, Jon Moxley thing is just really dragging down
they're taking
the
the shine off the belt with him hiding it away.
You haven't seen the belt since he won it.
6 months ago. Yeah. So, not great. Not surprised their numbers are slipping. All right, let's talk about the video game real quick. So they just announced 2K25, WWE 2K25 is coming out. 3 different versions. There's, I don't know what you'd call it, standard version, which has a picture of your favorite in mine, Roman Reigns on the front, the awesome fist. Then there's a dead man version. Sorry, I think the standard version is going for $69.99. There's a Dead Man version that's going for $99.99, and then there's what they're calling the Bloodline version, which is going for $129.99.
God, this is why I'm not a gamer.
And what are you getting? I mean, you get a lot of.
You get a lot.
You do,
a real lot.
A lot of.
Data. There's a Wyatt 6-pack that's included in
if
the
I'm
2
paying
special
$100,
editions.
I want to have the board game and the cards and nice wooden meeples and everything. Like,
there's a
fancy.
WWE 2K25 Seasons Pass that's included. There's a Dead Man Edition bonus pack with a usable urn with Brother Love as a manager.
That's just way too much. Just make a copy of the game and leave it alone.
The Bloodline Edition includes a My Faction Persona card for Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of the Rock Nation of Domination pack.
Don't need it.
Yeah, it's a lot of. It feels like a money grab to me. I mean, the fundamental quality of the product is the same. You're just trying to make money off of Undertaker's back.
I can't stand games that you have to pay to get extra stuff. I'd much rather play a game where you unlock things, and you get WWF No Mercy, N64, greatest wrestling game of all time.
Yeah,
I gotta say, man, I think I'm the complete opposite.
Of course you are.
I think okay, let me tell you a little story. Okay, this has been a conspiracy. I'm not much of a gamer, right? I like Need for Speeds. I like Call of Duties. I like a lot of, and I come to realize over the last couple years that a lot of the games that I make, they don't make anymore. And for the longest time, WWE SmackDown versus Raw, 2003. I think was the game. No, 2004 and 5. It was Raw versus SmackDown. They had a general manager mode in it. One of my favorite modes of all time. Then they took it out. And I swear to God, Vince McMahon just didn't want it in the game. And for years, people were pleading and begging, put GM mode back in, put it back, and they wouldn't. 2K comes in, takes it over, they put it in. It was phenomenal. And now every year, they've added. Last year was the second year in it, and it was great. And now this year is the third, and they're adding even more. They finally took the mode. I love GM mode. It's fantastic.
Yeah, build your story.
Oh, it's fantastic. But they make a good game. But I don't want to go in there. I want to have everything available when I play. I don't like it where, here's 50 wrestlers and all the rest of them are in here, but you got to go wrestle and play that game. I hate that. I don't like to play. I don't like playing the wrestling matches. I like doing the storylines and creating the shows and doing all business, Dan. Okay? I had no time to be wrestling the matches and doing all that nonsense. So you and I are completely opposite in that. I'd rather just say, here's the $20. I want everything unlocked.
You want to wrestle and you want to tell a story.
There you go.
There it is. And this is why, people, wrestling is for everybody. There's literally something for everybody that's in it. Speaking of something for everybody, there's another movie coming out.
Mark your calendars, March 7th, Queen of the Ring, the story of Mildred Burke. I am a big fan of history and of wrestling history. Clearly, we have a segment based on it. Hell, go back to one of our old videos where we talk about the history of women's wrestling. And
Yep.
Mildred Burke was one of the pioneers. So definitely want to check out this movie. It sounds really cool. Sounds like it's going to be in the same vein as Iron Claw,
Yep.
the Von Erich movie. Some wrestlers involved. Camille is in it. Tony Storm. Naomi, she's playing a part. And Britt Baker, she's in it. And your buddy Jim Cornette, he's even got a part in the movie too.
And very like Walton Goggins, there's some big names.
Emily
that are
Bett
gonna be in this.
Rickards is playing Mildred Burke. My fellow comic nerds know her from Arrow.
The only apprehension that I have, and I'm totally going to see it, and I'm probably going to enjoy it. The only apprehension that I have is I watched the preview, and I got a little bit of a campy girl power feel from it. I got a little bit of a... And so if they can stay away from that, if they can keep it really genuine without sort of overdoing the tragedy that's associated with it, I think it's going to be a really, really great film. I hope that the director, who is directing it?
All right, just close.
I hope that the director...
The director
is it an
Ash Avidson?
And is it an A24 film?
Doesn't
like
say.
the Iron Claw?
No, I don't
It
think.
is.
No, Sumerian.
Okay. So, I mean, a lot of these wrestling movies are starting to come out. I mean, it used to be really rare. I mean, when The Wrestler came out in 2009, it was like, whoa, a fictional movie about professional wrestling, holy crap. And now it seems like every year or two we've got another good piece of wrestling. And it's more like history-related stuff versus fiction.
Yeah, Iron Claw was a great movie.
Yeah, it was outstanding.
And hopefully this will be just as good.
So I'm going to be sure to check it out. I'm sure I'll do a video review of that for you guys to see if it's worth your time. But, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Could be cool. Some more women's wrestling.
All right, guys, that's going to be it. Make sure you let us know what you think about all of our media topics tonight. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know in the comment section how you think our show is every Friday night right here on YouTube. And remember, if you keep
listening.
If you keep what?
If you keep
watching,
smelling.
we'll keep wrestling with the business right here.